Good afternoon, councillors and staff. Welcome to our June Ordinary Council meeting. A special welcome also to the students and staff, teachers from Canowindra High School, Molong Central School and Yeovil Central School to our meeting, and we'll be hearing shortly from the students in our meeting. So I'll first up like to advise that this council meeting is being recorded and live streamed. By speaking at this meeting, you agree to being recorded and live streamed. Please ensure that if and when you speak, you are respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. Combine Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this meeting. The recording of this meeting will be made publicly available on Council's website. Item 1 is applications for leave of absence. I have one from Councillor Nash. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Rawson, second by Councillor Weaver. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 2 is declarations of interest. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Oldham, second by Councillor Jones. Does anybody have anything to declare? Nothing? All good? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 3 is declarations for political donations. Could I have a move and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Weaver, second by Councillor O'Ryan. Does anybody have anything to declare? Nothing? Nothing to declare. Thank you, everybody. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. All right, I'll now take leave to suspend our meeting and call up the Canowindra High School students: Oliver Eddy, Lee Troy, Mitch McMahon, Nina Merchant, Mitch Stevens and Ava McMillan. I have on that list, if that's correct. Come forward, Canowindra High, and welcome. Oh, they could all come up and stand up the front, and we have one spokesperson. That's fine. Shall we put the lectern out there?
On certain matters in hopes of improving them. These include things such as road conditions on the Nangar Road, the swinging bridge, no rain creek signage and access to mental health support. As you may know, the swinging bridge in Canowindra has been closed for quite some time, which is unfortunate because many residents and tourists have enjoyed going on walks in this area in the past. After the floods, that area has seen a significant downgrade in quality and safety, which is a shame, but even before the floods, it wasn't living up to its full potential. The area could be a nice place for families to go and have a swim or a picnic in the summer, but at the moment, it is less than an attractive or safe spot for this kind of activity. Not to mention the fact that some very lovely trees were cut down there recently, which adds to the barren look. We're sure that there was a good reason for this, but it would be really great if some more trees were planted to reinvigorate it in years to come. Some bench seating could also help and make the area more appealing to people around the town and encourage them to return to this area. Another issue that was raised by members of our school is the state of the roads, in particular the Nangar Road between Yarra and Canowindra. From our point of view, it seems like in most places that instead of redoing the roads, the potholes just get filled in, over and over again. This is all well and good, but we inevitably get heavy rainfall again and the potholes reappear. This has led to 2 fatal accidents within the last 2 months, including a good friend and ex-student of our school, extreme damage to vehicles and time-consuming detours. If there was sufficient drainage on the sides of the roads for the water to escape more freely, these road accidents and traveller inconveniences would be lessened. Yogi Gowra residents have stated that their bus trip is very lengthy because of road closures, as well as the normal bus route no longer being a station for buses. We wonder if it would be better in the long run just to fully redo the really bad stretches of road, as they will last longer then, and also make it safer for people travelling from town to town. The lack of signage leading up to the damaged Narran Creek Bridge could also be seen as detrimental for people who are not familiar with the road damage. It may be tricky for drivers to notice that the bridge is closed before it's too late. This has been proved by several accidents occurring since the bridge closure, one of which resulted in fatality. To overcome this problem, extensive signage needs to be put in place on the approach to the affected area immediately. Something else we believe Canowindra lacks is access to mental health support. It can be difficult for Canowindra residents to travel to Cowra or Orange, which are the closest places, and often there are lengthy waiting times and limited access. There are some things the council is able to do to help us gain easier access to these services, such as access to transport or even having our very own mental health service here in Canowindra. This would be beneficial for all, as mental health issues affect about 1 in 5 Australians, as well as mental health issues increasing significantly for Australians living in rural areas. As young people in a rural area, we have many challenges to face. But we are hoping with Cabonne Council's support we can move forward in a positive way. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Nina. Now call on Molong Central School, and I have Tengus Micklejohn, Cooper Kelly, Angus Day, Will Thomas and Emerson Chaplin.
Morning, council members. Today, when I address the council, I'd just like to talk about the situation at sporting fields in Molong, sporting grounds, the hockey field particularly, and an approach we made not too long ago about a basketball court being built in Molong. Firstly, we might just ask the council the question about what might happen with the hockey fields if they are being cleared or if they are being rebuilt, if the council knows.
Well, I'll answer that for you. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're looking through our insurances and we're weighing up all our insurances and whether or not it's a good thing to put it back where it is. You know, we're not trying to move it somewhere that's high and dry so that we don't get that damage to that field again. So that's what we're looking at the present moment.
We'd also like to talk about the basketball courts or the sporting fields and the concept of moving them up, a lot of the sporting fields up to the golf course. I think there's been ideas floating around about that, and we're wondering if this was to go through, if we would have a basketball court or any similar infrastructure built at that time alongside rebuilding hockey fields.
Oh, look, I guess that's what we are looking at. We're looking at moving those sorts of infrastructure up into that area, but to that detail about whether a basketball court at this stage, that hasn't been discussed, but it's certainly, if you're going to raise that today with us, that's something we can discuss later on in the meeting.
Is that something the youth would they go out and use it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, however, if the infrastructure was to be moved up there, we're also wondering how would people be able to, how would youth particularly be able to access that, particularly the golf course being an area that's quite a while out of town. If the youth decided that on their own they would like to get to these places or these establishments, how might they go about that? Would there potentially be the building a footpath or of sorts?
Yeah, we'd have to connect that with some footpaths for pedestrian access, yeah. So that connection will be all part of that whole project.
Yeah. We would I'd just like to follow up on the basketball court comment. So I think it was a year and a half ago, perhaps, that we came to the council regarding the basketball court, and we have just we pointed out whether it was in the budget, and if theoretically if it was approved and we found room in the budget, whether it could be a half court or a full court, or what kind of services, I guess, to what extent will the basketball court could that? Sorry.
If it was in the budget, are we looking at the budget, are we able to do a half or a full? What are we looking at?
So just to answer, it's the way the budget process works, obviously council considers every year what goes into a budget, what goes out. And most of that, what we call capital, which is a new bit of infrastructure, the council's mainly funded by rates to maintenance and operate. So we go for grants. So that's something that would have to look for, like we have, the state had a Stronger Country Communities grants, those sorts of things. We put some stuff out at the Oval. So it's all reliant on grant funding and the timing. We also have a thing called Resources for Regions, which is another grant. So we haven't been available to those grant at this point for that bit of infrastructure. And to be honest, given where it was going to, you suggest to be put, we may struggle. There may be questions about that going for a grant, so I think so. A movement or a new bit of infrastructure in a different location probably is more likely. So I'll talk to our grants people about what's in the mix for next year's next round of going for grants. But we're also going for a lot of. You can appreciate we've got a lot of existing infrastructure that we've got to try and get reinstated with grants. So to get a new bit of kit is not as big a priority, but if we can be a bit inventive with those, I suppose, those grants and about the multi-use of tennis court / a basketball court or whatever. Hockey, I think we're looking at standalone, but we can certainly look at that because we do know you guys are pretty keen to get that project going.
Has the council considered any other form of sporting infrastructure recently, besides hockey and basketball?
So new.
Yes, new, relocated, I guess. Have you guys considered any add-ons or improvements?
We'll probably not add on because I think we're in the hole for about 13 million on just building back what we've got to build.
Yeah.
We're insured for about 3.5 million, so I suppose we've got to claw our way back to getting back what infrastructure we had in place. To go out and get more on top is going to be quite problematic, just in the short run. But we can be a little bit innovative potentially with that moving stuff up to if we do go up to the showground or the golf course, there may be some room there to do something with the grant coming up.
So, Mr. Mayor,
Any ideas about what other sporting in other sports that you want to support? You've mentioned basketball, you mentioned hockey.
I think I've heard comments from students inside the Murdoch Central School about the condition of the soccer ground on Caldwell, and about the new goalpost. That has been greatly appreciated. But the state of the grass in that area, it's a rough turf to play on for a lot of players. And I have heard complaints from several of the younger people, particularly because it's a sport more popular in Molo within kindergarten year 6. So I was wondering if for that ground there could be re-turf. I don't know. But if it is a problem with budget, particularly, I don't think that would come to the foreground, particularly as an important thing.
Maybe have a look at top dressing or something like that.
That's about all we have.
Apologies for Will Thomas who couldn't be with us today.
Yeah. He's had this week, so yeah. That's all I'd like to say. Thank you very much for your time.
Councillor Batten's got a question.
yeah, this
Or comment?
through you, Mr. Mayor, I wonder whether it's worthwhile the Deputy General Manager of Infrastructure just outlining some of the planning right now in terms of the half basketball court that Tangus raised in his talk to council previously, what's actually happening right now as part of the planning process.
For you, Mr. Chair, thank you. Yes, we have been planning on a half-court basketball area in the vicinity of the cricket nets down here at the Dr. Ross Memorial. Obviously, haven't been working on a full-court basketball, so that does change the dynamic a little bit down there. And probably just encourage getting a clear direction on where you want basketball to be played. I mean, you don't want to construct a new basketball court down Dr. Ross and then want another one built in a higher area. So we just need to be clear on that. We're getting ready to start doing consultation with key groups that's there, but we can certainly modify what we've put forward there for a full court option down Dr. Ross.
Like the proofish, couldn't you, that way?
Yes, I've built similar netball courts and basketball courts in floodplain areas, and they can be made flood resilient.
Yeah, with queries to location, I think that would actually, I think down near the cricket nets would actually be a lot better idea. I think it would be a lot easier to access for the youth. And regarding the amount of damage floods can do, particularly to a basketball court, I don't think it's very significant. So as if you're looking at like asphalt and concrete, I don't think the amount of damage that floods can do is well, it's mild. So
For you, Mr. Mayor, yeah, that was the intent, was to make it a concrete pad with a basketball ring there. The only thing we hadn't accommodated for was a full length basketball court. So we'll go back to the drawing board and have a look at a few different options on that.
right, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for consideration.
Thank you. All right, now we have Yeovil Central School. We have Lucy Smith and Nathaniel Scanlon. Come forward, please.
Firstly, I would like to acknowledge that we are standing here on Wiradjuri land, and that we acknowledge the Wiradjuri elders past, present, and emerging. Secondly, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nathaniel Scanlon, and I am a representative of Yeovil Central School. I would like to say that the improvements at the Yeovil Oval, like the new footpath around the football field, the new tennis courts, the playground, and the toilet blocks, have ensured that we can enjoy a beautiful town with quality facilities. So we thank you for ensuring the first stages of improvements have occurred. We would like to also say thanks to and acknowledge Councillor Peter Batten for attending the Progress Association meetings and hearing our voice. Listening to our small community is truly valued. After a discussion with our peers, we have identified a number of possible projects to make our community even better. For example, a public drinking fountain at the football grounds will be a great addition. No one likes spilling their water bottle out of the old, dirty water tank. So a new fresh water drinking fountain could be super beneficial for the football players and the Yeovil Central students who enjoy their time at the athletics club. An upgrade to the bathrooms behind the Oval's canteen would benefit the community by providing more clean and improved bathrooms that are easy to access. More public rubbish bins along the side of the streets will encourage community members to properly place rubbish in the bin instead of littering. After the recent floods, our beautiful Buckenbar Creek has been plagued with rubbish and debris. So a simple cleanup of Buckenbar Creek, underneath the bridge especially, will open up more members to utilize it for fishing, picnics, and exploring. Down the road of Renshaw McGreely Way requires a sidewalk. Community members enjoy exercising and walking down that street. Also, numerous school students also walk down that path to go to school. This is a requirement because they live in North Yeovil. What is also a requirement is that they have to walk on the road because of the overgrown lush vegetation plaguing the sides, forcing them on the streets. Add in a simple sidewalk will ensure that no accidents happen. The intersection near the school, Billabong and the Royal Hotel sees many motorists speeding through that intersection. We fear that one day there will be a fatal accident and that the little kids in the playground of the school will witness a traumatic event. We don't want anyone to witness any fatal car accidents, let alone young children. More street lights or maybe even solar lamps to light up the streets, especially along the footpaths or exercise paths, will encourage people to wander at night to see the beautiful time that it is.
The youth of Yeovil are valued members of our rural population. This is why their voices are so important. We care about the well-being of Yeovil youth today and tomorrow. This is why we want to create a safe space for the children and teens of Yeovil to go. An idea we have is bringing 2 shipping containers together and putting them in the Benjo Patterson Park. In this space, we could put a pool table, darts and some furniture. And the outside of the containers could also be used as a canvas to paint some murals to add art or sculptures that already exist in the park. Or this space could be added to the Golden Club. Another idea for a space to create is a public library for the whole community to use. We could use one of the old buildings in the main street and jazz it up to create a place for the community to use and relax in. It would also be great to clean up and use the grassy space next to the tennis court as a skate park or a multi-purpose court. We also want to create some family-orientated spaces that families could use during summer and winter. We believe a good idea for this is making a space for disc golf down at the golf course. It would also be great to have some gardens, trees or sculptures depicting our history at the entry points into Yeovil. Silo art or an artwork on the grain shed roof, again depicting our history, would showcase our great little town. We are proud to live in Yeovil and we are lucky to experience the rural life. However, through avenues like this, we can collaboratively share ideas and thoughts to improve our community to make it even better.
Thank you all for coming in and sharing your ideas and your questions with council. It's very important. You are our future and we really do appreciate it. So thank you. Councillor Weaver.
Oh, we're probably going to say the same. We're wondering if we could address some of the issues raised by Canandra High, please. Because we didn't really ask anything. Like the swinging bridge was one of their things.
Yep, we can address that.
For you, Mr. Mayor, I've had advice this morning that it'll be open as of 2 o'clock.
That was a very powerful speech. Anything
And
else in particular?
also the area around the swinging bridge has been part of the town activation. Yeah.
Yes, true. You might be aware that we have got a CBD improvement project we've got $2 million for, so we're just kicking that off. There's new bins going in as we speak on the main street. One of the key areas was the swinging bridge area. So obviously we've got had to work out how the swinging bridge is going to come into play. We had an engineer recently, as Matt just said, give us clearance to open it. So that beautification of that exact spot is we've got funding and that is part of the project. So it's coming and it's just going to take, we've got a few delays due to obviously recent events, but it's in the plan, it's funded, we're committed to that project. So you'll see around the swinging bridge some beautification works, places where you can go have picnics and things like that. That's we're happy to send you a copy of Rebecca, we might be able to get a copy of what that looks like on the master plan so you've got some awareness.
I was thinking that perhaps there was a big issue raised with mental health services, and I'm suspecting that that's something that goes through area health rather than through council.
Just to explain, I suppose, local government has certain areas of responsibility. You picked up a fair few on roads and bridges and infrastructure. Health services are generally the purview of the state. So what our role there is similar to what you're doing today, is advocating and pushing the New South Wales government to provide better services. It's a big part of our disaster recovery plan to increase advocacy for New South Wales state health agencies who provide healthcare and NGOs to target our communities, because you're quite right, it is a very big issue in our communities, but our role is not to provide mental health services. It is in its essence to put the flag up, and it's great to have your voice behind that, because when the Mayor advocates and the councillors advocate for those services with other ministers, the health minister, etc., they can say we've had delegations from the schools very concerned about it. So that's exactly what we needed to hear. So thank you.
Yeah, the last one that the students raised, the signage on Iron Creek Bridge. However, you could add that by the letter of the law, we're correct?
Yeah, Matt could answer the specifics of it, but this was raised also at the Canoundra disaster recovery meeting, and believe it or not, there was a thought also out there that there's too many signs. So what we do is we follow standards and regulations. So those signs, even within a couple of inches, have to be in certain positions and certain amounts and certain. So that's where they are now. Unfortunately, it's tragic that we've had those accidents, but obviously council reassesses things when those things happen. But at the moment, we're following the appropriate standards, and we don't go outside that, because that gets you into all sorts of trouble. It is momentary inattention and things like that come into play, and you can have too much signage perceived or not enough. And we've been criticised for both things, and that's fine. That's everyone's view, but we've checked and we follow those standards, and they're in place. And we hope the bridge is out of play for some time. You can't just make a bridge appear, but we're working with the state government who funds that bridge, and we're going to get it fixed as soon as we can. It is a number one priority for us.
For you, Mr. Mayor, the bridge has been inspected by the consultant structural engineers 2 weeks ago. The verbal advice is that we will have support for a second span on that bridge, subject to Transport for New South Wales approving the additional funds to build that second span. With regards to the temporary access way, we have had a number of issues with regards to its longevity and holding up in wet weather events. We've since concreted that causeway and improved the safety in that area. Signage has been reviewed, and it does meet current standards for temporary traffic control, and we have conferred with the local highway police command, and they have endorsed what we've put there as being appropriate. That being said, this is probably the third time I've heard that the signage isn't adequate, so we will do another review of there and see if there is something more that we can do in that local area. But the comment that there are too many signs is as applicable as not having enough. If we do have too many signs, there is a thought process that goes through a motorist's head that they are safe because there's more signs, and that is backed by appropriate science. That's why there are controls in place to regulate how much signage we have at the location. Just the comment with regards to road conditions on Nangar Road, I have presented to council a number of times in regards to the initiatives we're taking going forward. We have put in additional funding in the last 3 budgets for clearing of table drain maintenance and addressing continual problem issues. And the indications I gave to council at the time were about 5 to 6 years before we start seeing a relatively significant difference in the quality of the road. So we will continue undertaking that plan, but there will need to be some patience while we try to get on top of it from here.
Infrastructure
Dr. Yeovil. Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, I'll cover off on some of the Yeovil things. Thank you for the comments with regards to the Yeovil sports fields. Staff did a lot of work to get that done. I'll forward that through to them. Yeah, look, most of those things can be looked at. I'd just caution with regards to new toilets. With regards to new toilets, they do take a lot of work to maintain, and that regular occurrence of maintenance and depreciation expense does hit council's bottom line financially. So it means that there's less services to provide elsewhere. But in saying that, I think that it's good to note that the Renshaw McGurk footpath is within our pedestrian access mobility plan for future funding. So that is listed as a priority there. The Oval intersection, the traffic committee has recommended some treatments to go there. We've just got with Transport for New South Wales the exact configuration of those. It will be some painting of advisory giveaway signage on the actual road pavement itself. Yep, and I'm probably not qualified to talk about the use space in the Banjo Patterson Park. I'll leave that for another discussion another day.
Councillor Bailey.
Yeah, thank you. I actually direct the first question to the students themselves from Yeovil. Some fantastic ideas actually put forward there, and I know they'd be well aware, I think, of the town activation plan that's being drawn up right now. I just want to know, were these ideas forwarded through to the consultants? If not, we need to make sure that they get these, because there are some pretty impressive proposals in amongst it. So, did you put them through?
We talked to the engineer now, who is under there for organising that so hopefully she's aware. But we can make sure it gets as part of the ideas for that. That's great.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's important, because these are exactly the sorts of things that should be considered as part of that process. The second one is probably the mayor or the general manager. In terms of the recommendation in terms of the clean-up of the Buckenbark Creek, it might be worthwhile sharing your knowledge of the process that you have to go through to do something like clean up under a bridge, similar to what we did at Molan under the rail bridge.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that process was done due to the flood mitigation through the EPA. We would have to look, I'd have to talk to Matt, we'd have to fund that ourselves out of some sort of clean-up riparian budget, which we have doubled. We'll have to look at that and see whether we can get our contractors out there to have a look at it. Is that right, Matt?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, we have a regular budget to clean out our waterways in all of our townships, and Buckenbark Creek, I believe, is about $15,000 per year, and we can direct it to the Oval Township as a priority.
I could just ask something. I believe rubbish bins were brought up by the Oval group. I think.
I thought I'd be loud enough. Yeah, garbage bins brought up by the Oval students. I believe we've got that already in play, haven't we, of replacing the garbage bins? Is that right?
I think they're after more garbage bins, if I'm correct. So,
But what I'm saying is, can we increase what we're doing there now then?
we'll have to talk to Matt and Tim, because more garbage bins means more cost.
Okay.
So you get, what you tend to have is less rubbish spread across different locations,
Yeah.
rather than people. But
Going to one bin.
I'm not sure of, whether we're reviewing Yeovil at this point in time.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think that what we would strategise there would be we'll wait for the outcomes of the master planning for the CBD in Yeovil, and from there, any works that come out of that, particularly for street bins, we would then undertake a process similar to what we've done in the Mo along Main Street, engaging with business owners and the townspeople where they want to see the bins, and then we'd have a consistent approach to the bins in the CBD area.
All right,
If I could ask another question. I thought it was brilliant that the young lass brought up about the library and the availability of a shop front to set up a library there. Is there a possibility of that
Central West Libraries.
through Central West Libraries?
I'd
Yeah.
have to probably talk to them, I guess. I'm thinking on the run, Councillor Weaver, we'd probably have to talk to Central West Libraries and see.
Yeah.
And once we get more established here, they might be able to take something on the road from here, perhaps. Something where we can ask them about anyway.
The other one, Mr Mayor, it's probably worth sharing again the knowledge of the request about the beautification entrance to the towns. There's a proposed entrance to towns project that we actually have on the drawing board.
Through you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, Councillor. We've had a project on the books for some time now, about $450,000 value for town entry signage to all the towns and villages within Gabon. That is at the stage where we're drawing up a specification to have for tendering of that work to go out. All those concepts. So I'll take a step back. Council has had input into the design charrette of those, of what feeling and so on. The next step is to actually get some drawings of what they're going to look like and provide those for public comment and feedback back, and then from there we can then go through and construct. So we've done the design charrette. We're up to now getting the designs drawn up for that public consultation.
And given that we had pretty impressive presentations from all three of our schools, it'd be worthwhile, I think, that we actually make the effort of including the schools in that consultation process, not just leave it to a public meeting. Similarly to what's been done, I think, with other projects.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll add that to the program.
All right. Thank you once again to all the students and the teachers for coming in. The teachers had to bring them in, I guess, look after them. So thank you all for coming in to our meeting today and sharing some fantastic ideas. And as I said, you are our future, so it's important that you come in and address us. So put your hands together again for the students. And I'll just keep the meeting suspended because I think I'm going to get some photographs. So if anybody wants a quick break while we get some photos, we'll resume the meeting after that.
Heads up, just get the questions without notice, Heather.
Oh, I know we can skip later on.
Progress Association meeting where you saw the level of discussion today, and that's heightened at the meeting. And the second one obviously is the Tumnot Progress Association meeting as well, and both of those are very well attended meetings, and certainly I think they're actually kicking some goals.
It was noted that they thanked the Councillor Batten attending the progress meetings too.
And I was going to acknowledge the fact that I can't achieve anything without people that have got their, the willingness of the people who've got their hands on the levers, the General Manager and 2 Deputy General Managers and their staff to actually make it happen. So it's actually thanks to the whole Council, I reckon, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Ryan.
Councillors Weaver and Poole and I all went to the newly formed Progress Association meeting in Canowindra last night. It was the initial meeting. In 3 weeks' time they will have an AGM and vote for the the position holders, but, yeah, the AGM, but it was a very well attended meeting and there was a lot of enthusiasm and it was very positive, which was really nice thing for all of us. And a lot of positive feedback about council too. Secondly, I didn't write it because I left it on my iPad at home, about the New South Wales Local Government Destination and Visitor Economy Conference in Manly. Shall I give you a quick briefing?
You can.
Went to Manly, Councillor Oldham and I went with Rebecca, and for the Destination New South Wales, we, firstly Manly's really beautiful. We picked up a few pertinent things. One was that the New South Wales government's priority is going to be focusing on experiences and not destinations, because we were addressed by John Graham, who's the Minister for Tourism and Sport, and he said that. The next one was the biggest number of international tourists in the not too distant future is going to be actually from India, which that's going to be huge, we're anticipating. We did question, well, Rebecca actually questioned whether we should be changing what we're doing to cater for a different market, but they seem to think we're probably all right. And the other thing we did was I brought some of that non-alcoholic drink because the number of people in Australia, young people in particular, who no longer drink alcohol is increasing. So it's something that people can think about, brewing non-alcoholic spirits. Oh, we did have a big talk about the funding for charging stations, EV charging stations, and it would appear that we should be able to apply to get some more charging stations, so like the 20 to the 40-minute ones, into quite a lot of our villages by the sound of things, that there's funding for that available.
Very good. Thank you. Councillor Ross.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I just wanted to mention that something I did mention in the thing I sent through to you, but I've been appointed, just for council's benefit, I've recently been appointed to the Community and Sustainability Technical Review Committee for Environmental Trust, which monitors the Environmental Trust's major projects. So the Environmental Trust is used to funnel pretty well all environmental money from the state government through to either to the community or even to other CSIRO or to other government agencies. So government agencies like, for example, the Great Koala National Park, for example, administered through a government agency, is funded through Environmental Trust. So they get many hundreds of millions of dollars. And they are monitored and by advisory committees, of which this one is one. So I've just been appointed to one of those.
Is that state?
State.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, anything else for the Committee of the Whole? No? All right, well, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 5 is Committee of the Whole. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Weaver. Second by Councillor Jones. Does anybody wish to call any items into the Committee of the Whole? No? All quiet. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against, that's carried. Item 6 is a confirmation of the minutes of the previous ordinary meeting and the infrastructure meeting. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Rawson, seconded by Councillor Jones. Everybody's happy with the minutes? Oh,
No, there's an error. There's an error in the mayoral minutes from the last meeting. My name is on Andrew Rawson's list of activities for the month, and my report's missing. But if that's all right, I've sent my report to Jolene from last month to go in this month's meetings. But yeah.
Thank you. Nothing further? I'll put that. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against, that's carried. So item 7, I'm just taking leave to move that into the closed section of the meeting. I suppose procedurally wise, I'll probably ask for a mover and a seconder to do that. Councillor Rawson, thank you. Councillor Oldham, anybody object to that? Everybody's in favour of that. I'll put that. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against, that's carried. Item 8 is the Local Government New South Wales Annual Conference. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Oldham, second by Councillor Poole. All right, now, the recommendation is the Mayor or his delegate and up to 4 observers. So, volunteers or people who wish to go, or and on the rotation. And on the rotation, whoever's turn it is, I'm not sure, so up to the floor.
Batten because he missed the last time he was not well.
He wasn't alone, remember?
And you're going.
I think I headed him a bit with the sickness.
Yeah, well, I would be interested in going, and I definitely will not be partaking in calamari.
All right, we've got Councillor Batten. Who else?
He was Mayor, yes, I'd like to attend if possible.
Councillor Rawson. Councillor Jones? Yep.
I'll volunteer to go.
Councillor O'Ryan? On the list, on the reserve?
I did go last year. I was in the same room as you, but I was well.
Yeah.
But I did go last year, so I'm happy to go on the wait list. But yeah, be interested in attending.
You were probably our sole delegate, were you, with one other?
Only the strongest of all.
I went last year too, so I don't have to go.
Well, just put the 5 down, and one circumstances might dictate there. How's that sound? Is that all right with everybody? But we'll just
Don't need to
sort out the reserve when it gets a bit closer. Something might come up. Or Councillor Rawson might go as CT Devo.
It's our only attempt at cost shifting, councillor.
Fair enough.
Anyway, we've got the 5 names down, and oh yeah, and item 2 will between now and when is the cut-off date? Is it listed there? So any issues that we will want to raise as motions to that conference, so just got to work on them before. Robin's telling me 15th of September. So we have to come to August meeting. Correct? Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 9 is the delegation authority to the General Manager, moved by Councillor Weaver, seconder, Councillor O'Ryan. Any discussion on that? All pretty straightforward. All happy, all quiet? I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 10 is the First Choice Credit Union Molong Agency Agreement. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Poole, second by Councillor Batten. Very good, Council. Agency. So that's all positive. Yeah.
Can we just record, I think the thanks actually from the community, because I know it's well supported, the fact that council has stepped up to the plate and actually taken this on. There's no, if you look at the actual monetary benefit to council, it's not the, it really is a community service that Combined Council is providing to the Molong and broader community. And I know that the Treasurer and President of the Arts Council of Cabonne will appreciate the fact that it actually has happened.
Now it's very good. All right, no further discussion. I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 11 is Local Government Week. Can I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Weaver, seconded. Councillor Jones, thank you. All happy with those sort of activities? Councillor Rawson?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I think they're fine. I'm very happy, and I certainly went along to the coffee with the councillor sessions we did before, although there weren't that many people who would turn up, which was a bit of a pity. So I was wondering what avenues we might have to, get a few more people along, advertise it a bit more. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a little bit late advertising last year, so I think we're getting in early. And COVID was still a little lingering a little bit, but yeah, I think with the new team up there, we'll get it all out and advertised.
It's a team too. Yeah, thanks. No, they're good. I'm very happy to be involved. Yep.
Yeah, I think Peter and I had coffee together at Cumnock. Yes. Anyway, we'll get it out there and hopefully we'll get a few more attend. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 12 is the financial investment policy. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Rawson, thank you. Seconded. Councillor Batten, thank you. Any discussion on that? No, all good? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 13 is making rates and charges for 23-24 and rate of interest on overdue rates and charges for 2023-24. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Weaver, seconder, Councillor Batten. Any discussion on that at all? No? All good? Righto, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 14 is the Events Assistance Program. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Weaver, seconded by Councillor Poole, thank you. Just down the list of the recommendation, as per the list, $1,000 of disc golf, 5,000 Canowindra for the Music Baroque Fest, and 5,000 the Cumnock District Progress Association, Cumnock Market and Family Fun Day. All good events. Everybody's happy with that? Yep. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 15 is request for donations. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Jones, second by Councillor Rawson. Was that a hand? Yep. Yep. I didn't know it was a scratch or not. That was all. All right. 3,000 donation, Country Education Foundation, Australia Limited. Everybody's happy with that? Yep. Very good. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 16 is the local student to address council meeting. The council consider the matters raised by young people at the meeting. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Weaver, second by Councillor Batten. Any discussion on that? Well, I think we had the discussion with them, so pretty much. But is anyone raise anything that we didn't discuss that needs discussing?
I think they were a really nicely presented group of young people who really put some thought into what their communities needed. I thought it was heartwarming. I thought it was good.
I must admit, in the time that I've been here on council, the address from Molong Central School was quite different. More of a question approach, which was fine, clarifying a few things. So that was quite different and good. Yeah.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I'd just like to say I think it's a credit to each representative from the school. They our future's in good hands when you see young people like that. turn
Very
up.
confident.
Yep.
Good. Councillor Rawls.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I reiterate the views of others expressed. I thought it was excellent, and we should be continuing our engagement with the youth of our community, because they are our future. I'm not sure what their brief was before giving it, but many of the suggestions were all quite local to their area, a bit parochial in a sense. And that might have been what they were asked to do. But I'm wondering whether, when we do this again, which I hope we do, that we ask them to consider broader issues about their future in general, about whether or not and how we engaged, how they engage with us, how we engage with them in a broader sense, rather than just, you know, a specific issue for their town. We are councillors for all of Cabonne. I certainly consider myself to be a councillor for all of Cabonne, and it'd be great if we can get these kids to be also thinking for all of Cabonne as well. That was all. Yep.
Mr Mayor, I don't agree with that. I think the students have got enough to do at school doing their studies. I think they did a dash good job today presenting to council, and it's always been about what's happening in their local community and what improvements that they think are needed for their local community. That's just my opinion.
Maybe they could just have one general, like something that's specific to them, but that could obviously apply, like the mental health one.
Yeah, mental health.
So that obviously could apply to the whole region, the whole state, everything. So maybe if they go specific and then have one general umbrella sort of statement that covers the Shire or young people.
Yeah, look, I think we don't have to make that decision today in this time either. You know, we can work on that if you want to formulate a better question to put to them to come up with answers to. That's fine, and might be a bit of both. Focus on the area, but also what's the broader picture for the whole of Cabonne, you know. So anyway, we can work on that, I think. Anything else? No. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 17 is draft roads management policy. Could I have a mover and a second? Moved by Councillor Poole, thank you. Councillor Weaver as a seconder, thank you. Any discussion on that? Going out on exhibition? Pretty straightforward. All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against? That's carried, thank you. Item 18 is the modification of development application 2021/262/1 for 4 detached medium density units at lot 12 DP 730682 29 Ferguson Street, Canoundra. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Ryan, second by Councillor Poole. Any discussion on that at all? Nope. More housing? Yeah. All right, I'll put that. And it's a division, show of hands. All those in favour? He's had to leave the room, so that's voted 7-0. Carried, thank you. No, I think you have to take an urgent phone call. Item 19 is development application 2023-73 for dwelling house at 47 Tugong Street, Kidal. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Batten, seconded by Councillor Rawson. Any discussion on this at all? Councillor Batten, you wish to speak to it at all?
I think the report's pretty straightforward. We took a briefing from the proponent. I think it's pretty clear.
Thank you. Any further discussion at all? No. All right. This is a division as well, so I'll put this, all those in favour? Against? Righto. 7-0. That's carried, thank you. Supplementary goes, is it number 21? No. Item 20 is questions for next meeting. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Oldham, seconded by Councillor Rawson. Does anybody have any questions for next meeting?
Yes,
Councillor
Mr
Weaver.
Mayor, I do. I'd just like to know, in regard to the Age of Fishes, when our meeting's going to happen in regard to the architect and the association with the Australian Museum. We've had one meeting and I think it was supposed to, the next one was supposed to be in June and it hasn't come up. So I'd just like to know when that is happening.
Just checking Rebecca off the back, she might even have an answer. Right, here we go.
Technology.
Technology. So the consultants have been overseas, so it's likely to be July, Councillor. Which is the next month. Yeah, if you do recall, I remember now he did say in his when he did talk to us at the last time we came out, he was going overseas for a period of time.
We're up to questions for next meeting. Is any other questions? Councillor Rawson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like, if I could get the traffic committee to have a look at the intersection of Cargo Road and Nankara Lane for safety and particularly for renewed road marking, because all the road lines there have been completely obliterated, and there's been a couple of accidents there recently, and I've already mentioned it to Matt, and I can certainly send through to him photographs of the intersection from the sides is actually hard to see. It's actually hard to tell whether that there is a major road there, and people have, particularly tourists, have crossed over the main road at high speed without realising there is in fact a main road there. And certainly from one direction, it's pretty obvious why. You can't actually see the markings there. So if I could just get that passed through to the traffic committee. Thank you.
Through you, Mr Mayor, the traffic committee is meeting next week. I'll try to get it to the traffic committee for that meeting, but if I can't, it'll be another 3 months after that.
Any further questions for next meeting?
Mr Mayor, my question for a future meeting is, I note that October is Small Business Month, and just wondering, obviously given that in our recovery plan we have some items in there around supporting our businesses, as to what council could possibly do to tie in Small Business Month with potentially putting in for some grants for workshops, etc., or see what is possible, please.
Yep, thank you. Noted, yep. Any further questions for next meeting? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 21 is business paper items for noting. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Weaver, second by Councillor Rawson. Does anybody wish to call out any items from the noting papers? Nope. All good. Right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. The matters of urgency is item 22. Move in a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Weaver, thank you. Councillor Oldham is the seconder. Anybody got any super urgent matters? Oh. Right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 23 is committee of the whole section of the meeting. We don't have any, but I'll need a move and a seconder. we've reached it. Thank you, Councillor Batten and Councillor Rawson. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. We have a supplementary in the ordinary. So is everybody with me with the supplementary, item 24? All with me? Yep. Item 24 is the revised long-term financial plan. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Weaver, seconded by Councillor Paul. Any discussion on that? No? All good? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 25 is Cabon Recovery Plan, building back a better Cabon. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Rawson, seconded by Councillor Jones. Can I just place comment on this, that to thank all the councillors for the work that they did on this with our community engagements, and all the staff. The work that's gone into this is just quite amazing, the amount of work that's gone into this, and they should be congratulated, the staff especially, for the amount of work that's gone into this. Any other discussion at all? Councillor Rawson.
I'd just like to reiterate my appreciation for the role of the staff in particular in putting this together. It's been exceptional. Thank you. I'm pointing out a few people here, but I think it's been an exceptional process, and as you've been saying, it's able to be used at higher levels very, very well. And I think it's a good roadmap for the future. The difficulty for us then, the challenge for us, is being able to fund it. Yeah, gives me nightmares.
Councillor Batten.
Just a question in terms of feedback to the people who actually responded. It's pretty obvious in some cases that there's a lack of knowledge of what's actually going on. I'm talking, for example, the flood mitigation gauges. Is it a timing issue that they put the questions before it was made known that that was part of that process, that the SES is involved with council, that we, we've received the funding, and has that then been communicated back to them to placate, in some cases, some of the concerns?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So that was a topic in our information session. Also, it was known that the funding was received, and SES are having a workshop tomorrow night. So I think it's well known, but however, I think in some of the submissions it's more to reiterate and reaffirm the view of the importance, and that's how it's couched. So that's why some of the things we're noting, but I think it's reiterating the emphasis on having those initiatives seen through. So that's what I'd suggest is possibly, it's not that the people putting in the submission don't think it's happening, but they want to reinforce that they want it to happen. That's how we interpret it to a degree. But there will obviously be further consultation. This obviously involves community. The SES will still have to consult widely with the community about these gauges and how they're going to work, and this is just the first step in the process, I'd suggest.
Any further discussion? I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Item 26 is disaster management claims cash flow implications for internal reserves. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Weaver, seconded by Councillor Paul. Thank you. Any discussion on that at all? Councillor Rawson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know what to say about this one, other than, well, look, I think we have we have little choice to do what this is, and I just want to be assured that this is just a temporary measure, and that I'm sure it is, and also I guess we need to have some discussions with state government about how they deliver disaster recovery funding, which doesn't cause this sort of impact every time. You know, does that mean that every council has to have a cash reserve or a reserve available to them to enable the processing of these sorts of grants? I think that's crazy. So I think it's a great pity that we have to do this and you know, put ourselves into a difficult position, moving money around just to enable it to occur. And I would hope that we advocate up the tree as strongly as possible that there be some form of reform of grant funding for disaster recovery to make sure this sort of thing doesn't occur in the future. Because as we know, we're being hit by big ticket items, big grants, large amounts of money which overwhelm what we have available to deal with, and that's not going to go away. So this particular issue is not going to go away, not just for our council, but for all councils.
Yeah, look, absolutely, and rest assured, it's mentioned quite often, and the employers will get onto it, basically. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. But yeah. All right, any further discussion on that? No? All right, I'll put that. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. All right, that moves us now into our closed section of the meeting.